again, we are back on Egmont Soch Tea Talk Train of Thought with a series of an episode with Dr. Bharat Kulkarni. This episode is in the series of understanding the challenges which are there as far as the agribusiness which is concerned. As far as Dr. Bharat Kulkarni is concerned, he did his MBA in finance, he did his MA in economics and PhD in economics. A right person and have I think he had an international exposure as far as agriculture policies which are concerned. So I think it's an interesting insights to what we got of the start of your career like. And now when we talk in terms of as far as the agri industry which is concerned, like in terms of livestock which contributes around about 32% towards and GDP, and when we talk in terms of sustainability and financially viable, we talk in terms of livestock which is there. In farming, we talk in terms of how we generate the wealth and the employment aspects which are concerned, which is the need of a day life. And according to you, like what are the things when we talk in terms of an agribusiness, what one should take care of?
See, agribusiness, when we talk about it, it's a huge industry. It right from the farmer in the production sector to the input sector, downstream into the inputs and the fertilizers and everything related to that. Upstream, when you actually go into harvesting, storage, trade, it's a big gamut. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, say what has happened globally, and specifically in India and other developing countries, including the frontier economies in Africa where I have been working, what we have realized is the value chain of the product, like from where the product is produced, as we call it, from farm to the fork. Mm-hmm. If you actually look, the value chain starts to get squeezed as you move to the next level. There are hundreds of farmers. When it goes to traders, there are few. When it goes to wholesalers or when it goes to processors, there are further few, and then when it goes to actually retailers, it becomes another lesser number. So when that type of structure is there, the benefits normally do not reach to the grassroots levels, and that is where we have to democratize the value chains, make the value chains more democratic, more structured, in a way that the value chain can be integrated from top to bottom and the benefits can flow through like a conduit pipe. I'll give you an example of Ethiopia where we worked on commercial trade for coffee. Ethiopia is believed to be the place where coffee was born. There's a province called Kaffa, and from there they believe that there was a shepherd called Kaldi who discovered coffee, and there through the to the slaves into the Arab nations and eventually into the Europe. That's how coffee went. We don't know the reality, but that's what is believed. When we looked at the coffee value chain, in spite of being one of the largest producer in the world, the coffee traders in Ethiopia, the majority of the profits were booked by the traders and the exporters. Whereas the farmers at the grassroots level had no voice at all. We came in and we structured the whole value chain, we structured the whole system which was strongly tilted into the favor of the financially powerful people, which includes the processors, which includes the exporters and the traders. Bringing back the balance into the farmers level was a difficult task, but that was done. And when we actually concluded the project, we realized that the quality and the quantity of the coffee that was exported by Ethiopia improved. Farmers were getting far better prices, and which meant that they could spend more money on their life, they could spend more money on their education, they could spend more money on their healthcare. So everything that the farmer aspired for could be achieved. And that was just by structuring the value chain, making sure that the benefit the benefits are not skewed in the favor of only few people. It is equally distributed, and at the end of the day, I still remember the farmers finding this new structure so attractive that they started to request for replicating these structures into other commodities. We did it for sesame.
Dr. Bharat, if you talk in terms of India as a country where there is a great diversity, we talk in terms of there's and challenges as far as infrastructure which are concerned, like and when we talk in terms of land holding capacity also per hectare, I think all these small farmers, I think they're holding very small piece of land, which is a major chunk of the land is owned by hardly less than 5% of farmers who are there. And now in the entire process, when we talk in terms of as far as providing economic security which is concerned to cover the differences, risk and the allied activities which are there. So when we talk in terms of Indian context as the agriculture aspect which are concerned, how we can take care of the entire value chain in that, because there are the various stakeholders who are involved in that, and that still is a challenge as far as India is concerned.
Very true. And I think that is where a lot of work needs to be done. Some work has already happened, which has resulted into a lot of benefit. The farmer today is not as the farmer 20 years back. And farmers 20 years hence would not be the farmer that he is today. So that's how we are actually improving. The whole concern is how can we reduce this this growth cycle from 20 years to 10 years and 5 years and almost immediate. A lot of technology innovations is happening. See, the problem that in India, and for that matter for many other developing countries, has been that agriculture is often seen as a social and a developmental sector, subsistence sector, rather than a commercial sector. We never talk about commercial agriculture. Sometimes commercial agriculture becomes really a bad word, and that is something that thought process has to change. Commercial agriculture has to be commercial. I was at one of the say meetings in farmer organizations, and farmers are now talking about say you grow first for your family, hold it back, and then if you have any surplus, then sell it. Which means that we are still looking that sector as a subsistence sector. That if I have a say surplus, then I'll sell it in the market. That needs to change. We need to really think about how we can empower the farmer to be a commercial entity. Each farmer has to be a commercial entity where he produces, sells, and creates say funds to sustain his life. And for that matter, if he is actually say moving from subsistence farming to commercial farming of cash crops, commercial farming of fruits, vegetables, earning more say proactive say farming is doing, is linking, then you have to link them to the value chain. So all that structuring has started to happen.
But the challenge lies as the Indian context which are concerned, many of the produce which are perishable one, so in that case, still the rates what they should get, being a perishable goods and they have to get particular price, they have no option so that also becomes a challenge. We talk in terms of infra like cold storage, again stores and challenge further how to bridge in those kind of gaps.
Yes, so that's where again I said you have to democratize it, and what I mean by that is the farmer is left on the mercy of the trader. You have to create options for him to participate in a market. I'll quote a Harvard study which is very interesting, not related to agriculture per se, perishable agriculture, but definitely related to fisheries. So they did this study in the southern part of India, Tamil Nadu, and what they did was they brought in technology to empower the farmers to call from the high seas into their villages. So through the telephone network. Interesting to see that these guys in the high seas, when they were coming back to the shores to sell their catch of fish, they would call and ask which market has the best price. And they would go to the market where the prices were better. So automatically this would create demand supply balancing, this would create price balancing, price improvement, and just a simple use of technology actually resulted into this. So that is what we need to do. We need to create a platform where farmers can see multiple options and say, okay, if this option is not working for me, can I go for this option? Can I go for this option? Can we enable the farmers? I know say companies who are making huge profit just by processing, basic processing, making pulp out of the fruit and selling it. Why can't a farmer do it? Why can't a farmer producer organization do it? See, what we have to do is we have to think that way. How can we convert a farmer into an entrepreneur? We never think that way. And policies are not designed for a farmer to make him an entrepreneur. So if you give him the freedom to choose between the markets, today what happens is a farmer can sell only in a designated mandi. And now going to a designated mandi means he's he's open for exploitation by the people who control that mandi. So if you actually give him an option of going or not going to a mandi, going to a different market, probably you can create an option for him where he says, if you're not going to treat me right in the mandi, I'm going to alternate market which gives me a better price. Automatically the demand and supply adjustments would happen. the mandis would start to be more transparent, things would happen. So those are type of things that we need to do. Infrastructure for say storage, post-harvest handling, I think one of the major, if we actually save the post-harvest handling, or if we do better job in post-harvest handling, we can actually save 30 to 35% of our produce, which means that we can increase our production by 35. Every dollar saved is dollar earned. Similarly, every grain saved is grain grown. So if we actually reduce our post-harvest losses by bringing in a business model into the storage, then probably we can actually add to the 30 to 35% of the supplies to the economy. The problem is banks don't finance to the rural sector, banks don't finance into the agriculture sector because they don't see a business model. The moment collateral management comes in, the moment structured financing comes in, and we did this thing in poorer countries like Kenya and Ethiopia. We brought in the business model for banks to finance the farmer. So what happens today, if you actually look at the farmer, he is actually more exposed to challenges which can be solved easily by introduction of technologies. It's just that missing business model. That missing business model needs to be established. And once we do that, I think we'll see the farmers. Farmers are not farmers are far more intelligent than we think they are. The only problem is they don't have the access to the to the business model that they can actually use, and that is where the challenge comes.
Okay, so I think in this episode what we are recollecting from Dr. Bharat Kulkarni saying that the farmers, I think, should be made as an entrepreneur, and then they should be part of a system where they can sell their produce. I'm sure, like the conversation to what we are having with Dr. Bharat Kulkarni, we are trying to understand his experience and the exposure in the Eastern, Southern African countries and in India, like, where the gap lies and how we can bridge in the gaps. In the coming episode, we are going to take up one by one the challenges which are there, how we can overcome those kind of challenges. So that will take up with Dr. Bharat in our next episode, which is there. So thanks a lot for throwing some light as far as the agri aspect challenges which are concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.